Oh, goody. More electronics from Big Brother Apple. Can't wait. Can't wait to see what. Now, I tell you what, next year, they're going to just pay you to take a flu shot. You want a flu shot, buddy? Here, have a 20. I mean, isn't Safeway giving out coupons now? 10% off your groceries if you get a flu shot. That's true. Oh, you got the photo. Right on. 10% off your groceries. How's that a way to entice the poorest of the poor, people who can't even afford to eat? But if you get a flu shot, yeah, you'll save a few bucks off your macaroni and cheese. Oh, yeah. Just don't buy frozen turkeys. They might explode in your kitchen, says Department of Homeland Security. It's gone crazy, folks. All right. Quick plug for Cornucopia, which has a very important proxy petition that you need to sign. Go to cornucopia.org. That's spelled C-O-R-N, like corn, and then U-C-O-P-I-A, cornucopia.org. Now, look, we had them on InfoWars Nightly News the other night. They are trying to get a lot of petitions signed that they are going to hand deliver to the USDA next week. So the timing on this is urgent. The USDA is holding meetings that could allow organics to be polluted with new synthetic chemicals and additives that the big food conglomerate corporation dominant controllers are trying to get legalized as, quote, organics. Oh, yes, didn't you know? Your organic food now contains chemicals. Could be, unless you put up a fight. Sign that petition at cornucopia.org. And thank you for your support on that. Yes, I drank a chocolate superfood smoothie, so I'm feeling pretty good. And thank you for joining in here on the Alex Jones Show. We've got a lot more coming up on the other side of this break. I'm Mike Adams filling in. Stay with us. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
Still feel
I got to say, I like the intro songs that are chosen for this show. Welcome back. You are listening to the Alex Jones Show on this day before Thanksgiving. And we do want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving from myself, Mike Adams, filling in today for Alex. But, of course, Alex would like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving as well, and the entire crew here at Infowars.com. Thank you for tuning in. We've got a lot more coming up for you here, a great action-packed show, an info-packed show. That's what we're in the business of doing. Who's coming up here? Dr. Stewart Lonky is coming up in just a few minutes. He's the author of Invisible Killers. No, it's not a book about the CIA. It's a book about heavy metals and secret poisons that are in the environment that you probably don't know about and you need to know about. But we're going to give you solutions too, folks. We're not here just to tell you everything's dangerous. We'll let Napolitano do that instead. And we're going to give you some solutions because we want you to be safe. We want you to be informed. We want you to be confident. And we want you to have good cognitive function, right? So you can continue to analyze the world around you and think critically about the world around you and vote with your brain engaged. And that's easy. All you got to do is vote for one guy, Ron Paul. You don't even, it doesn't take much brain power to realize that he's the only one who makes sense. In fact, continuing with our little theme, our little ongoing daily joke theme about vitamin C something, say something, and vitamin D population agenda, I was thinking, what other vitamins are some of the presidential candidates on? Because they're on something. Like, what is Newt Gingrich really taking? I think he's taking vitamin B, the Bill of Rights. Yeah, he's betraying the Bill of Rights and betraying the American people with this talk that you shouldn't have any rights if there's a war. What about Herman Cain? Vitamin E, Z, to fool people about the Federal Reserve, right? It's so easy to fool people. You got some others? Send them on in. Email them to us here. We'll read them on the air in the next segment. I don't know how this got started. It was just completely impromptu, totally random. All right. One other quick thing. I did an article last night that I wanted to talk about on the air today, but we won't have time. So Jaron, is it up on InfoWars, the scientific medical industry cyborg article? All right. I think it's up on InfoWars. I put this together specifically for this show. In that article, which I encourage you to check out on Infowars.com, of course, you can also find it on Natural News. I laid out the top 10 things that are coming for you in the future under scientific dictatorship. These include things like chip implants. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's real. Chip implants that can control your emotions and control you so that the police can have a pacification switch that turns off entire crowds of protesters, for example, or having biometrics monitoring devices implanted into your bloodstream or implanted into your tissues where they can read your bloodstream so that they can report back your biometrics, your nutritional status to the government. So the government can actually monitor your nutritional levels. They can monitor if you have, quote, too much vitamin D. Yeah, you're taking too much vitamin D, they're going to make sure you don't take that. They will know. Anyway, there are 8 other things that you need to know about human cyborgs, super soldiers, other technologies that could be in our future. They're not necessarily predictions. They're just sort of little sketches, let's say, of what is possible under scientific dictatorship. Because we've already seen GMOs. We've already seen vaccines go way off the charts into the world of insanity with aluminum and with mercury and with live viral material going into the vaccines. That's crazy. That's all, quote, scientific. But we don't have time for that whole discussion. So going to go on to the next topic and get ready for our guest at the bottom of the hour by talking to you about the poisoning of our world. Now, what really got me interested in this, I'm a researcher. I'm an investigative journalist most of the time when I'm not here putting on firemen's outfits and burning turkeys for fun. It's not fun. That was just alluding to the last segment. I read this article from, believe it or not, Scientific American, which Scientific American is mostly a very conventional, closed-minded type of magazine, in my opinion. They report just the official scientific truth. So it was very surprising to me to find Scientific American actually covering this topic, which is the toxic top 10. What are the top 10 most toxic things in our world that are impacting the greatest number of people in our world? Scientific American, believe it or not. And they gave us this list of 10 things. Mercury, lead, chromium, lead. See, lead's in here multiple times. This is my point. More mercury, arsenic, pesticides, more lead. Yeah, we're going to come back to that. Stay with us here on the Alex Jones Show. We're going to talk to you about lead, mercury poisoning, chemical poisoning, and some solutions. So we're having a great time here. Stay with us on the Alex Jones Show. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. What is that music? What is that? I don't know. They're throwing me crazy stuff today is what they're doing. They're trying to throw me off. See? Once you get comfortable in this chair, they play games with you. Try to catch you off guard. Not going to let them do it. You hear that, Jaron? All right, we are back. We're going to be interviewing Dr. Lonky here in just a minute, who is a toxicologist and an expert in so-called invisible killers. In fact, he has a book called Invisible Killers, which goes into some of the environmental causes that are preventable, the things that cause cancer. Lots of chemicals in the environment, lots of heavy metals, things that you may not be aware of, and in places that you may not have thought about. So we're going to be asking Dr. Lonky about those kinds of questions. But let me continue with the setup on that. Getting back to what I alluded to before the break, a Scientific American article talked about the toxic top 10 things in our world that are impacting the most people. And let me just read the list very quickly because you'll be surprised. I was shocked. They are, and I'm not stuttering, this is actually the list. It repeats. Number 1, mercury, then lead, pesticides, lead, chromium, mercury, lead, arsenic, and pesticide manufacturing. Those are the 10 things. Now, you may have noticed lead is in there a whole lot. There are lead pollution from industrial processes, lead pollution from mining, lead pollution from improper battery recycling, and so on. We've got arsenic in groundwater. See, this reminds me, I love it when all the fluoride proponents say, oh, we're just going to adjust the naturally occurring fluoride levels in your water, as if to say, because it's natural, it must be good for you. Well, arsenic is natural. I don't want arsenic in my water, do you? Should we add arsenic into the water to make it more natural? I mean, that's the logic of the fluoride pushers. Should we add lead? Lead is natural in that sense. Look, just because it comes out of the ground doesn't mean it's good for you. Uranium comes out of the ground. I don't want to be taking uranium pills. Anyway, people, you got to think about this stuff, all right? That's crucial. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough of an intro. Diabetes is going to hit 1 in 10 Americans by 2030, according to the most recent news. 1 in 4 U.S. women is now on psychiatric drugs. 25%. It's incredible. Let's get some answers from Dr. Stewart Lonky. He's a board-certified expert in internal medicine. He's in private practice right now. He used to be at UC, University of California, San Diego. He is a postdoctoral fellow at the National Institutes of Health, or he was. I mean, that was his experience. And he joins us now by phone from California to help us get some answers on these environmental causes of cancer, which are preventable as well. Dr. Stewart Lonky, are you with us? Thank you for joining us.
I am. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I was listening to your reading off of the list, and it's kind of, I chuckle a little bit, because I think that most people are aware of the fact that there are exposures. For example, let's take lead. I think everyone says, there's not lead in paint anymore, and, I understand the industrial exposures to lead, but I don't think that most people are aware of the fact that, those people who live, for example, in inner cities, where the plumbing is still lead-lined pipes, there's a fair amount of lead in their drinking water. I don't think most people are aware of the fact that many of the products that come from abroad are still painted and finished with lead-based paints.
Like the Halloween face paints from China. Those had lead in them, right?
Absolutely. And children's toys. I think that most people that live in the suburbs say, well, I've got copper plumbing. I'm not worried about that. The solder that they used to solder those pipes contain lead. The water that sits in your house overnight has that lead leach out of that solder into the water that you turn on in the morning. You see, so no one is immune from any of this. And, of course, the kinds of exposures that we talk about in Invisible Killers are the kinds of exposures that aren't related to toxic spills. Everyone's aware of a toxic spill. But the fact that you eat sushi and the fact that you're being exposed to mercury from the fish that you're eating, or if you don't eat sushi, the fact that the foods that you're eating are maybe from plants or even animals that drank water or that were fed on feed that came from fish that were laden with mercury. The fact is that almost all of us carry with us a toxic burden. And what the book really focuses on is the fact that that toxic burden starts in utero. And that's something that was very important for me to come to a conclusion regarding the fact that the average newborn from umbilical cord blood has over 200 toxins already in their body. So if one looks at umbilical cord blood, you'll find pesticides, you'll find mercury, you'll find arsenic, you'll find lead. All of these have been lovingly transmitted across the placenta from mom to newborn. And the fact is that there are about 80,000 chemicals that are in commercial use today. I won't go into the Toxic Substance Act of 1976 and the fact that those chemicals can be out there without any previous testing regarding whether they're safe.
Right, all grandfathered in.
There's no testing that's required. The FDA does not regulate this whatsoever. However, of the 80,000 that are in use today, some 10,000 of these chemicals weren't even in existence 5 years ago. So we continually put new chemicals into our environment, from the deodorizers that you plug into the wall in your home to dry cleaning fluid that you bring home your clothes and hang in your closet, from the flame retardants that are required to coat mattresses and baby clothes. It's a good idea to retard flames, but those flame retardants are polybrominated diphenyl esters.
But here's the thing, Dr. Lonky, sorry to interrupt, but here's the thing. Most people out there believe that if all these chemicals are being used in these products, if California, for example, requires these flame retardants to be on these infant mattresses, then they must be safe, because the government would not allow these chemicals and these metals to be used in products if they weren't proven safe. But your position and what's available in your book, Invisible Killers, and I think the website